Hey guys, welcome to the official review of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Yes, I know it's later than a normal review would go up, because, the last one, which was. What even was the last one? Um, it's hard to tell, but I'll figure this out. Um, 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 figure it out. Where's it at? Um, um, the last one was The Exorcist, which sounds about right. um, but I reacted to the review of Saw, even though I didn't review it, but I reacted to review it. But yeah, um, yeah, and I know the last one came out the day the movie, like the Friday it was officially released. However, this one, this is the first chance I've had to go watch it, so I took it and went and watched it. Great movie, by the way. Um, very, very much, very much. It sounds really weird. Was very pleased with the movie and was very happy to finally see this movie come to fruition. I remember my sixth grade year when I was probably how old would I have been? Jesus, I'd have been 12 years old. Maybe 13, somewhere in that range, which is about 6 years ago. I remember the games releasing, because the games, I think, if I remember correctly, when did FNAF come out? Almost 10 years ago, 2014. 2014. How old would I? I would have been about 9 when the first games came out. But I didn't actually play the first games until about a year later, so 2015. So even earlier, definitely 11. When I was 11 years old, the first movies came out. The first games came out. The very first game came out, and I remember that game took over the internet. And after the third movie, they were already debating whether we should make a movie out of it based on the games. And I remember I was so excited for that. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna go watch this movie. It's gonna be a great movie and all this. And then reports came out, the deal for the movie fell through. Movie wasn't gonna be happening. Movie kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, till finally, I'm not prepared for this. When did Blumhouse acquire FNAF? In 2017, Blumhouse got the rights to make the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, purchased the rights. However, the movie was originally going to be directed and co-written by Chris Columbus. That did not end up happening. They just still did have a co-writer. I mean, I don't remember the name off the top of my head, and I could look it up, but I mean, it's not a crazy big deal. But Chris Columbus, what I don't think was, who wrote FNAF movie? Scott Cawthon and Emma Tammy, who co-wrote the script with Seth Cuddleback, Cudeback, are the two are the writers of the movie. I think this is and so they co-wrote the movie with Scott Cawthon, and I think the movie turned out great. I think it hit every plot point that the movie needed to hit. I was very pleased with the movie overall. Just overall, really great. Happy I saw it. But yeah, that's just basic things I want to get out of the way. Now on to things I liked about the movie. I really liked the lore aspect. The lore, as Matt Pat would say, who coincidentally is in the movie um, at the very, very beginning of the movie. And I have seen his uh, video where he talks about what it was like on set. And he was a day actor. And Matt Pat was apparently, I'm not going to say apparently, it was because he'd said this. And why would he lie about the production of this movie? People would find out if he lied about it. But his scene was the very, very first day of production. The first scene of the movie ever filmed was his scenes. And I want to say this too, because, this shows the kind of guy Scott Cawthon is. According to both Matt Pat and Corey Kenshin, Scott Cawthon treated those two like full actors. Even though they were day actors, he gave them a whole trailer for them to do 4 lines, three or 4 lines each. I think each of them had 3 lines in the movie. If you're wondering what their roles are, Matt Pat was a waiter at a restaurant called Sparky's, which is also a reference to a supposed dog from the first game in the series named Sparky. That's not a real thing. Sparky was never really thing, but it's actually kind of cool. The Easter eggs. Oh, and Corey was a cat. He's listed as a cabbie in the credits, but it is a cabbie. It's a cab driver. I just think it's funny they labeled him as a cabbie in the credits. Cab driver. I think, I mentioned this already, but the next thing I really enjoyed was the Easter eggs, which really ties back into lore of the films. The movie was filled with Easter eggs and secrets that, not if you don't read the books you wouldn't understand, or played the games you wouldn't understand. This is the next thing I liked about this movie, is the ability for non-fans to go in and watch this movie and still understand the movie. Obviously there are Easter eggs and there are tidbits that real fans that have read the books and played all the games will know and understand, but ultimately the movie is just a movie about a video game. You could go in with no prior knowledge about Five Nights at Freddy's. You could go in being like, Five Nights at Freddy's, most horror movies take place over one night. You could go in and be like, and still understand the movie, understand everything about the movie and all this. Nothing in the movie really is new. There's some made up characters to fill spots in the movie, but I'd say the main plot of the movie is very much real in the Five Nights at Freddy's canon that we've already established and know. I don't think they added anything. I don't think they retconned anything. I think the movie does a very great job at covering its grounds, which also leads me into a negative point. It was very, very easy to know what was happening if you've played the books and read the games. Quite frankly, I knew what was happening. And I guess I can start my negatives here with that. I really just knew what was happening the whole movie. They introduced Vanessa, and I knew that was... Wow, I cannot think of it now. Vanessa is the daughter... I was about to say Scott. William Afton. Vanessa is the daughter of William Afton. And if you know the movies, and if you know the games and books, you will immediately know that. it just it happens. Like, no one can make a perfect film. No one, like, you can't make a film that's going to satisfy new fans that are coming in watching this with no prior experience of the games or books, and then the people that know everything. You just can't. Like, you have to pick your choices, and they very much favored the people who will have never heard of the game or never played the game or never read the books or don't understand the background and the lore of the games and films. Which I didn't hate, but I didn't love that either. Left the movie theater thinking it was a very great movie. Mike's character was played really well. Vanessa's character was played really well. I think the animatronics were all played very, very well, both in the times when they were actually animatronics and when they had people inside of them. They weren't Springtrap suits, although those were shown, and oh my god, those look even more terrifying in live action than they do in the 8-bits. Holy cow, was both the practical effects and the CGI effects incredible in this movie. The cupcake animatronic was absolutely terrifying. This scene is in the trailer, so it's not. And by the way, spoiler if you're still watching this 11 and a half minutes into the video, if you're still watching this, spoilers. But the cupcake doll was terrifying. Holy cow. One second it'd be on Chica's hand on the little plate Chica's holding. Next second it's eating the person's face off, or it's the leg of Mike off, and then the scene when William Afton he's like, "Rise, my children," and it shows the cupcake doll. It's laying down. Its eyes start glowing. The scene goes. The shot goes dark, and then when the lights turn back on, it's immediately standing up. Holy cow! Was this little cupcake terrifying? I loved that. The cupcake of all characters was one of the more terrifying ones. Obviously, all the characters were terrifying in their own right. I think the Springtrap reveal was very, very good. I think all the characters were really well written. But, once again, they're all pretty much straight out of the books. Which isn't a bad thing. It's just not something that, a major fan of the series will go in with it and be thinking, I don't know what's happening next. I'm not the biggest Five Nights at Freddy's fan, and yet even still, like, I'm not one of those people that's read all the books and all this and everything and played every game, including Ultimate Custom Night and all the DLCs and all this. No, I'm not. And yet still, throughout the entire movie, I was like, oh, they introduced Vanessa. Oh, that's Afton's daughter. Oh, Mike. Oh, he's a security guard from the first game in the book. Or the first game. His sister, Abby. Oh, she's the one that can talk to the ghost. Like, it's very, very... Obviously, the aunt... Aunt Tessa, I think was her name, if I remember correctly. Wasn't, I don't think is a real character from my understanding, but I could tell she was never going to end up with Abby. Like, she was never going to end up with custody of Abby. I think one of the bigger twists, something I was expecting but didn't 100% know, was that Mike's little brother was actually kidnapped by Afton and killed. Something I didn't know. That's one twist, I could see it coming and ultimately wasn't surprised about it, but was definitely like, that's crazy. Small world. It's a small world after all. Yeah, you know that Disney song? or the Disney ride. Yeah, that. That's what that part made me think. Um, and it was really interesting to see, you know, this scene when Vanessa's taping up Mike at the police department because she found him sliced up and everything. It was really cool to see. Um, We'd seen this scene so many times, and I'm glad we saw this scene because this scene was powerful, and really helped develop the character of Mike, really well. The scene where he's chasing after the car, and you can see the plane that Mike's little brother's holding, in the window out the back of his car, and it keeps replaying, and he's getting closer and closer to figuring it out. And then the ghost kids appear. It's, but, and at first you're like, oh, they're actually gonna help him find out who the killer is, but ultimately they just want Abby, because the kids have been brainwashed by Afton somehow. Even in the afterlife, they've been brainwashed by him to believe that he's the good guy, and that all the other people are bad guys, and that everyone else that comes into the establishment is bad, and that they need to kill them, and that Vanessa's in on it too. That was a big twist that I wasn't fully expecting, but it really helped that Vanessa built a bond with Mike and his sis and Abby, who's Mike's sister. It really helped that she built a bond with those two, that she was willing to shoot her father over and let her father stab her instead of killing Mike and Abby because they got so close to, because they found out the secret. And I think that's something that I haven't heard people mention enough about this movie, because that was a powerful scene when William Afton told Vanessa, you were supposed to kill him when he got close to finding out. You were supposed to keep him in the shadows and kill him when he got close to finding out. And and then for Mike, while the building is collapsing on him and Abby, who he loves and cares about, he stops and they pick up Vanessa and take Vanessa out of the building. And I could be very wrong about this because, I haven't read the books in a while and haven't, caught up on the lore in a while. But if you guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, and definitely will probably be wrong about this. But if I remember correctly, Vanessa isn't the real human. Vanessa is the doll, right? Because one thing I noticed, and that could be something that was changed for the movies, so I'm probably wrong about that because it was in it's in the Silver Eyes, I think, very first book ever wrote. One of the characters was a robot, made by one of the founders of Freddy Fazbear's Entertainment. And I want to say that was Vanessa, but I could very well be wrong about that. But yeah. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing now. But yeah, I want to just say I'm very pleased with this movie. Holy cow. Very pleased with this movie. Very happy with this movie. Very happy that this movie even finally came out in the first place. I've been waiting for this movie to come out for so long, and that the fact that it's finally out and, I can go watch it and I can go, enjoy this movie that from a series and books that I've read all throughout my teenage years. It really meant a lot, especially with the amount of delays that this movie got. There was a while when people just were like, yeah, the movie's never coming out, and I've accepted that, and I'm not upset about it. And then when the trailer for this finally released, holy cow, I thought, the internet was going to implode on itself just from the amount of tweets, the amount of YouTube videos, the amount of reactions, the amount of just posting on every social media site. I already said Twitter, but Twitter, when the trailer released, was its own, just has to be mentioned as its own social media site. Just everything that happened when this trailer released and that we finally had a date for this movie broke the internet. I remember watching this trailer when it released and was like, what the hell? It's only taken 9 years for this. But yeah. Overall, was very, very pleased with the film, and was honestly not, expecting some of the things that like, obviously I knew the storyline. Like, I'm pretty sure most people did. Obviously the little plot hole about Mike having to, get this job to keep his his sister in his custody instead of her going to her aunt, really meant a lot. And really, honestly, was not something I was fully expecting. Something I could have probably guessed and figured out from watching the trailers, but ultimately could not have guessed that was happening. So yeah, great job, Scott Cawthon. Great job, Blumhouse. Like, very, very, very pleased with this movie and very happy with the way this movie turned out. And so, yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. And I don't know the day this video is coming out. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Whatever days, today is, and then whatever day this video comes out on, all that stuff. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. And hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy and peace out, everyone.